Y'all, this topic today, ooh, it's hard to explain. What's up, Rad Fam? Today I want to talk about a topic that has my mind a-buzzin'. From the title and the thumbnail, you know that today we are going to be talking about the recently released US Navy footage that shows a UFO. They don't know what it is that's on the footage, and it is creepy and weird. And I know right away, like for me, when I hear UFO, I do think aliens. I think something otherworldly. But there are some other possible theories, explanations as to what we're seeing on this footage. But it is creepy, y'all. It made the hairs on my arms stood up. My mouth, I think literally, like my jaw was agape. It dropped from how just weird this footage is, and like hearing the pilots talk, there's something about it. So I want to talk about it today. I'm going to dive into it and share it with you in case you haven't seen it. So let's get to it. So before we jump into the pilot's footage of the UFO, I want to give you a little bit of backstory that's been released so far. I think the most important tidbit of this whole situation is that this isn't the only instance of seeing something similar. Just talking about that like sent a shiver down my spine. No, like, pause. Even if it is aliens, I'm not someone that thinks aliens are necessarily like bad or evil or like gonna take over the world like a lot of sci-fi movies make them out to be. Well, I think that's frightening and fascinating, and I totally get why people would think that, right? Because if they're visiting us, that means they probably have greater technology, and with that, what are they capable of, you know? So I completely get why people equate alien to scary, but from like, I think just human nature, whenever there is footage or stories that come out about seeing something that no one can explain as belonging to our world, there is just like this innate creepy factor of just the unknown. And I think that's just why I, and I'm sure a lot of other people, are fascinated with aliens. That's just personally how I feel and how I view aliens. But with that, back to the story. Now, the most important tidbit I think we need to take away from this before we watch the footage is that this is not a one-time occurrence. This has actually happened multiple times, and so much so that it had occurred almost daily, every single day. Let that sink in for a second. From the summer of 2014 to March of 2015. Almost every single day someone saw this aircraft or aircrafts. As you're going to see, they talk about seeing a fleet. So whenever I've read about like UFO sightings in the past, it's tend to be from maybe a less reliable source. And with that, I mean, it's like one person in the middle of the country after a night of drinking said they saw aliens. Now, I'm not saying that they didn't see aliens or a UFO or something in the sky. I'm just saying it's kind of harder to collaborate or corroborate, their story because there's no other witnesses. And if there's other factors like alcohol, did they really see what they think they saw? You know what I mean? Was it just a comet? Was it a satellite? Was it a shooting star? Was it a million other things? But this is coming from the US Navy. This is coming from multiple people. Now, I know there's a lot of conspiracy theories about the government knowing that there's aliens, having contact with aliens before, but pushing that aside and just focusing on this story and the facts coming from it, this is just harder to ignore because almost happening every day, they're coming out and saying that this has actually happened, and it's multiple people with footage proving it. Not only were these UFOs seen off from like a distance, caught on camera, there's more to it than that. These sightings weren't just limited to like fractions of a second and then they disappear or from a far off distance. No, these things have reported to have been seen for hours at a time. Hours! These UFOs were traveling at hypersonic speeds for hours. Now, to put that in perspective, this is not something I knew. That's damn near impossible that we don't have technology that we know of that allows us to sustain that speed for that long. There was one case where they observed it traveling for 12 hours in the air, and that's 11 hours longer than our technology at this moment is capable of. We can only sustain hypersonic speeds for up to 1 hour at a time. So not only were these things seen multiple times, maintaining speeds that are impossible to our knowledge right now because it takes so much energy to keep that speed going for that long, these UFOs were actually seen during close encounters. A pilot had to make a mishap report to their superior because they almost crashed into one. There were 2 pilots that were doing some like training drills, and they were flying within 100 feet of each other, so incredibly close, 100 feet. One of these UFOs reportedly flew in between the 2, so close that the one pilot said that when they looked up, they saw the aircraft. Is that not freaky? They were so rattled that they almost crashed into this thing that they had to actually tell their supervisor in 2014 that this happened, and they had to file an actual official report stating such. They have studied the footage captured of these UFOs, and they have taken the pilot's account of seeing them up close, and there's no identifiable engine on these aircrafts. These UFOs have been observed to be able to zoom in and out, move lateral and vertical at will, turn at 90-degree angles, actually flip their craft into a different positioning while maintaining the same speed. The more you read about it, the more it sounds like a sci-fi novel. Now, in this video, I'm not going to cover everything said in these reports that were released. I will definitely leave a couple links down below if you want to read further on this. So I think we've covered enough backstory, enough reports, enough information to get a better understanding of what we're about to see. Hopefully you didn't just skip to this part of the video though. If you did, go back. We've covered a lot of information that's very fascinating and paints a better picture of the footage.
Dude, that is a fucking drone, bro. There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA.
So this pilot's claiming that there's multiple of these UFOs, but on this footage we're only seeing the singular one. Why was the other ones not captured on camera? I don't know. Did they see them at a different time? Were they just out of view, or could they not be picked up from camera? I don't know. But knowing that there's more than one, pretty terrifying, I would say.
My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots to the west.
That's unheard of. Look at it. That doesn't look like any aircraft we have. It's tilting.
Oh, that's stuff, is it? It's not. Dude, I don't understand. Well, if there's like anything.
It's moving in ways that don't make sense. Oh, that's so unnerving. It literally gives me shivers. Now, this is a different incident. It's about to lock onto it in just a second. I literally cannot hear myself. Just like listening to them talk and how excited they are, because like this isn't something that should be there. This is crazy for them. So when I was looking at more information about this, trying to find any possible like explanation, any theories on it, I did come across a post on Reddit where people did offer a few explanations outside of an alien UFO. Now, these UFOs have been described like a sphere encasing a cube. And that's a really weird mental image. Like, I do think just like classic UFO shape. I mean, that's what it kind of looked like on that footage, on the first one. So does that lean a little more towards like traditional alien UFO? That's up for you to decide. But from this information and from the footage, someone offered that this might have actually been a fleet of drones. More specifically, they called it a Predator drone. This could have been some sort of testing of a top secret Predator drone from either our government or someone else's government, which is a very terrifying thought. But some people were quick to say, if this was some sort of top secret testing of the US government, would they have allowed this to have been released? I think that's a fair point. I'm not sure what they would benefit from releasing that information. Down in the description of this video, I will link this Reddit thread because people do go into a lot of detail on what they think it possibly could be, using just historical incidences similar to this in other countries, specifically relating to the idea that it could be some sort of stealth plane or some sort of top secret technology that they're testing. So it's a lot of like technical words that's a bit confusing, but I will definitely leave it down below if you want to go investigate that further. Now, unfortunately, I can't find the original posting on Imgur that offered this theory. If I do find it, I will put it down in the description though, so you can read it further. From what I remember, some people offered the explanation that what was on camera is called dead space. Basically, they were saying that kind of similar to like dead pixels, I suppose, on a camera, where wherever there's a dead pixel, you can't actually, it's not capturing anything. So they were trying to say that what you saw on the footage was just that. It was an error within the camera and the radar system, and that it wasn't actually there. Now, this does quickly, though, get debunked because pilots said to have seen it with their own eyes. So I'm not quite sure then how that could possibly be a valid explanation if there are people that have claimed to see it up close themselves, enough so that they could describe what it looked like. So with that, what do you think? Do you think this was an otherworldly aircraft, or do you think maybe it's some sort of technology that's being tested on the down low, and enough people had saw it and captured its existence that they had to release it? But thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope it intrigued you as much as it did me. I hope your jaws dropped a little bit when you saw that footage too. But if you do want to see me cover more topics like this, either it being alien or just stuff that's a little more relevant in the news, that's a little just weird, give this video a big thumbs up so I know you want to see more like that. And if you haven't yet seen it, up on the screen right now is my previous video where I talk about some bone-chilling sleep paralysis stories, and y'all, it is spooky. So if you haven't seen that, definitely go check it out. And until next time, keep it radness, and I'll see you real soon. Bye. Oh, I'm coincidentally wearing my alien shirt today. Did not even plan that.